Hey students, this is GED teacher Damon Tennant, and in this week's video we're going to be talking about solving for x. So we're going to be covering things like 3x plus 5 equals 30, and then solving for that x value. Now I want to point out a couple of things here, and please let me know how you are doing. You know, we're getting close to the end of the year, so let me know what you are doing to study. Maybe I can shoot you some tips down there right in the comment section. And as always, if you're liking this content that we're putting out every week, then please give us a like and make sure that you subscribe, because we put out these videos every Thursday night at 6 p.m. So that's enough of the introduction. Let's go ahead and jump into today's lesson. So what we're going to talk about now is we're going to be really looking at the skill and the word problem. And this is really the most important thing that I am going to be sharing with you, and I do it with you every week. Understanding the connection between the skill and the word problem. If you can do the skill, these kinds of problems, then the next step is to connect that with the word problem, the text, the picture problem, and we'll see an example of that in a moment. So what I'm going to do with this particular problems we have on the screen here, I'm just going to simply walk through them step by step so that you can see the steps. Number one, 2x plus 16 equals 48. Now, some of you are going to be able to look at this problem and understand right away what the value of x is, right? Because, you know, 2 has to be multiplied by something that when you add it to 16, it's going to equal 48. So some of you might be able to see that. But if you can't, we're going to do these steps. And then also, most of these problems, when you get them laid out, you're not going to be able to immediately see what they might be. So again, that's why it's so important to know the steps. So the first thing you want to do is combine like terms, and I'm going to use my highlighter here. And when I'm talking about combining like terms, I mean the terms that are alike. So you want to combine the 16 and the 48. They're not the same number, of course, but they're alike. And then you want to deal with x separately. So now that you know that, let's go ahead and jump in and combine. So in order to combine the like terms, you have to do the opposite. So here we have plus 16, so we're going to do minus 16 because that's the opposite. And whatever we do to this side of the equal sign, we also have to do to this side of the equal sign. Why is that? Because it's an equation. So if I take 16 away from here, this side is no longer equal to this side. But if I take 16 away from here and then also take 16 away from here, then now it remains equal and balanced. So 16 minus 16, of course, is 0. We just drop that 2x down. And then 48 minus 16 is 32. Now, again, we're still doing the opposite. So we've combined the terms that are alike, and so we've combined these two terms together, and we resulted in 32. And then we did that by doing the opposite. This was positive 16, so we did minus 16. Now we still have to do the opposite here. So this is x multiplied by 2, so we're going to do the opposite, which is x divided by 2. And again, whatever we do on this side, we're also going to do on this side, so we're going to divide that 32 by 2 as well. 2 divided by 2 is 1x, or just simply x, and then 32 divided by 2 is 16. So now you see, when you take that 16 and plug that in there, 2 times 16 is 32. 32 plus 16 does, in fact, equal 48. So those are the skills. And I use a simple method I call COPA, which is combine like terms, do the opposite, perform the operation, which is a subtraction here and the division here, and then you get your answer. So COPA, C-O-P-A. Let's do number 2. Draw a line there just to separate it. So now we have 3x plus x equals 100. So now what do you do? And this is really where the rubber meets the road for a lot of students. Some people just simply don't know what to do here. And so I'm just going to answer that so you won't get stuck. Whenever you have a plus and you have x, again, we're talking combining terms that are alike. And so these are not the same, but they're alike. And then get a different color for here. And then that's the 100. So now we've identified which are the same and what are different. So here, 3x plus x, what we're looking at doing is simply we just add it. So 3x plus x equals 4x. Remember, I said this is 1x or simply x. So you also assume that there's a 1 there, so that 1 plus 3 is 4, and that just becomes 4x. So bring that down, and then now you have 100. So now you've combined the like terms, and now we're going to do the opposite. So again, as I mentioned over here, x is multiplied by 2, so the opposite is divided. The same thing is happening here. X is multiplied by 4, so we're going to divide it by 4. And then, of course, like I mentioned also, because this is equal, whatever I do over here, I also have to do over here. And so we'll divide that 100 by 4 as well. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1x, or just simply x. And 100 divided by 4, of course, is 25. So x is 25. And so now you can see that if I put 25 in there, that's 75. And if I put that 25 there, that's 25. 75 plus 25 does, in fact, equal 100. So these are the basic skills. And again, as I've pointed out to you, this is what I call the COPA method. Right? Combine like terms, do the opposite, perform the operation, that's subtraction, perform the operation, that's division, and then you get your answer there. I love this method because it works every time. Now, next week in our video, we're going to do some that are a little bit more challenging and add some things to make it a little bit more difficult. But for right now, that's the skills. Now, let's go ahead and jump over here to the word problem. So now you'll see a word problem here. Tien bought twice as many pears as he did bananas. If he bought 16 bananas and a total of 48 pieces of fruit, then how many pears did Tien buy? Okay, so if you've been working with me, you know every single time we do the two-step process, identify the question. And the question is, how many pears did Tien buy? So we're just going to put pears. So we're looking for, and then state your path. So we know he bought twice as many pears as bananas. So we don't know how many pears. So we're just going to call that 2x for the pears. Bananas, we know that he bought 16 bananas. So B for bananas is 16. And then he bought a total of 48 pieces. So the total is 48. Okay. So what we've just done is just go through, identify the question, which is in general what appears right before the question mark, and then pull out the pieces. Twice as many pears, 16 bananas, total of 48 fruit. Now we can set up an equation. So now we can say 2x plus 16 equals 48. Now let me stop here for a moment, and I'm hoping that most of you have already caught this. But what we're doing here is we're seeing that this is the same question that we just did in the skill. We come back over here, 2x plus 16 equals 48. Now we're seeing that also show up as a word problem. So I want you to really catch that. And then, of course, I'm not going to do the workout here because we just did it in the previous screen. I want you to try one thing for me a little bit new in this video. So this next question, I want you to do, and you'll see that this question here, Tien is 3 times as old as Amanda. Together, Tien and Amanda have 100 years of age. How old is Tien? I want you to also see that we just did that here. 3x plus x equals 100. So it's the same thing. So I'm really showing you how the skill gets tied to the word problem. So what I want you to do special this time is I want you to do this and put your answer in the comment section below. We'll have a little conversation, have a little fun with it, and really use these videos to help you prepare.